If you're on a budget, here's 10 cards you should cut from the deck, and 10 cards you should play instead.
And if money is no object, here are 10 more cards to cut and 10 more cards to add. And if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, just click the link below. It leads to our Moxfield. It has all these cards in it anyway. Let's go!
Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls, is a 4-drop Rakdos creature. And whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, you put a +1/+1 counter on Valgavoth and draw a card.
Card's nuts.
There's so much power.
I love this
card.
thing.
Yeah. Our first card to cut in the budget section is Blood Pact. Valgavoth is already drawing us a crazy amount of cards, so
It's just not a good raid either.
It's not a good rate. It's not for me.
And in the same vein, Grab the Prize is the next card we're going to cut from this list. Very similar, except that sorcery speed. We draw 2 cards and we can deal 2 damage to everybody if we discard a non-land card.
I don't want to do damage on my turn. I want to do damage on their turn. Light Up the Stage is a spectacle card that's exiling the top 2 cards and you can play until your next turn. Again, cool card, but this deck just doesn't need it.
For our 4th cut, we have Mask of Gristlebrand. We are already drawing cards from Valgavoth.
Absolutely. And if we drew 20 cards, I don't really want to pay 20 life to draw 20 more. And it's perfect emblematic of cuttable precon cards that are win more. Our 5th card is Mayhem Devil. This is a powerhouse in treasure decks, sacrifice decks, all sorts of things. But that's not us.
Our 6th cut is Stormfist Crusader. Valgavoth's trigger only happens on the opponent's turn, and this happens on your upkeep. It's just a miss.
We're giving away free cards. Our next cut is Solemn Simulacrum. It's not really helping us do anything. There's no turn. I'm happy to cast this.
The 8th card we're going to cut is Theater of Horrors. It does enable Valgavoth, but there are more cards you'll see later that we're going to add that do it much more efficiently.
Our 9th and 10th cuts are Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds. This deck comes with 38 lands, and Valgavoth just doesn't need that many lands. In a deck where you're drawing a lot of cards, you can only drop 1 land per turn. It's gonna be there.
And as for cards we're gonna add to replace those cards, first up we have Aki Battle Squad. With how big Valgavoth is gonna be, and he will be modified, Aki Battle Squad is just giving us beats on beats, and we are going to be finishing this game fast when this comes down.
Our second ad is Champion's Helm. Valgavoth is both our engine and our win con, so we gotta be protecting the hell out of it. We gotta get this thing hexproof ASAP.
Third ad is Chandra's Ignition, which is so sick. We are huge advocates of removal whenever. This thing is basically keep your Valgavoth, blasphemous act everything.
You're either wiping the board or you're killing everyone. Emberwild Captain is a Monarch card that's going to damage any opponent who tries to attack us. And when they're staring down, losing a bunch of life, and helping us draw every time that they're attacking us, they're going to think twice about it.
Our 5th ad is Jet Medallion. Rakdos doesn't have a lot of ways of adding mana.
With all the cards we're drawing, we're going to be casting multiple spells, and Jet Medallion provides a lot more mana than a simple talisman or a signet. 6th card is Not of This World. Valgavoth is going to get to 7 power very quickly, and to be able to just rip a protection spell, a counter spell for free in Rakdos is going to blow people away.
Our 7th ad is very similar to Emberwild Captain, where we just punish people for coming at us. It's Revenge of Ravens. They attack you, every single one of those creatures deals 1 to them, and you gain a life. It enables Valgavoth, and it punishes people for coming at you, which is perfect for our game plan.
8th up is Soulbright Flamekin. That's going to enable our commander to have trample, which is a big deal. It's already got flying, which is good evasion, but as soon as someone gets a swan token from Swan Song or just a little flyer, all of a sudden my 20/20 can't hit them, and that's not cool with me.
Now, a similar vein of just ending the game as quickly as possible, we have the classic Temur Battle Rage. Double Strike, Trample is just an unbeatable combo. One of the best combat tricks in the game, immediately ends it.
Last up is Vengeful Ancestor. It's going to be damaging them on their turn, which enables Valgavoth.
This card is so sweet.
As for the lands, we're cutting as many tap lands as we can reasonably afford. And then Sheevan Gorge is kind of neat. It could enable Valgavoth, but I don't want to pay 4 mana to do that realistically.
And as always, lands we're adding, it's the MDFCs, Hagra Mauling, and Khazul's Fury. We also have Opal Palace and Reliquary Tower, easy. We're going to be drawing so many cards. We want to keep them. Tyrite Sanctum to further protect our Valgavoth.
MDFCs are really important for a high draw deck like this, because you're going to end up with a lot of dead lands in your hand, and this can help flip that.
All right, and if you're here and you don't have a budget, which first of all, congratulations. Second of all, these are the next 10 cards we recommend also cutting in addition to the ones we've already mentioned. All right, first up on our no budget cut list is Decree of Pain. We want to protect Valgavoth as much as possible. We have better cards that enable our commander. Cut.
Our second card to cut is Basilisk Collar. It's a fine card and it makes sense in a lot of lists, but for us, the Death Touch is useless because we don't want to get blocked anyway, and the Lifelink could be nice to keep us alive, but I'd rather just a card like Team or Battle Rage that's going to end the game instead.
Third cut is Braid's Arisen Nightmare. We don't want to be sacrificing our stuff. And again, an emphasis, don't need to be drawing extra cards.
Our fourth cut is Enchantress Bane. I don't usually like giving my opponents an option for me to destroy their stuff, and the damage happens on my turn, so I'm not super happy about this card.
Our fifth cut is Florian Voldaren Scion. This is not a bad card. Valgavoth does get pretty big, so it does give us card selection, but one card, gotta cast it.
Our next cut is Sadistic Shell Game. If I'm your opponent, I'll be the first to point out that we can all choose the same thing and make you spend 5 mana to kill one creature, and that's just not good enough.
So bad. Our seventh cut is Seance Board. What it can cast is just too narrow.
Yeah. Our eighth cut is Sign in Blood. Awesome card. 2 mana, 2 cards. Valgavoth is probably drawing me 3 cards off of anything that just deals 1 damage to each opponent during their turns.
Card draw isn't an issue.
No.
Our ninth cut is Tectonic Giant. Why is anyone going to be proccing Tectonic Giant by targeting it when you have Valgavoth on the field right there to target?
This card's an emblem of Precon design where it does the things we want it to, just not quite effectively enough. And our last cut is actually another land. We're looking at Exotic Orchard. I just think this card doesn't make sense in 2-color decks. It's too likely to miss one of your colors, and I'd rather just be playing a basic or a land that's gonna tap for both for sure.
And because you don't have a budget, that means you really want to piss off your friends, and if you want to do that effectively, Blood Moon is our first ad. This is the beautifulest card. I love this card. In the 2-color decks with one of them being red, I am a Blood Moon sucker. You want to win some games, easiest inclusion ever.
Our second pick is another Rakdos staple. Blood Chief Ascension is going to be online immediately, and then every card that's going to their graveyard is draining them for 2 life and drawing us cards.
Our third ad is so freaking mean in this deck.
It might be good.
It might be good. We finally did it, guys. We broke Exquisite Blood. Whenever opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Spicy meatball.
Our fourth ad is another MDFC Malakir Rebirth. We know people are going to be trying to kill Valgavoth, so we gotta keep them around.
Our fifth card, similar to Revenge of Ravens and Ember Wild's captain, is No Mercy. Please stop hitting us. We're gonna keep drawing cards and killing everybody, but you know,
there's
if
no
you do
please.
it, yeah.
There's no please. Stop hitting us or else. Our sixth card is a cheeky little counterspell in red, Pyroblast. You can stop all those cyclonic rifts, you could blow up a propaganda. The utility here is really, really strong.
Our seventh ad is something you probably all have been waiting for. It's Pyrohemia. This is just so simple, so elegant.
Yeah.
But you pay 1 red mana at their upkeep and you're drawing a card. And you can selectively just decide to put in a bunch of red mana and kill a bunch of creatures.
Oh yeah, and eliminate token strategies from coming at you. Number 8, we got Sulfin Mayhem Dominus. A lot of our cards are dealing direct damage to our opponents every upkeep, every card drawn, every land played, and this is going to make that happen way faster.
Our ninth card is one of my favorite lockdown cards in the entire game. It's Trinisphere. This card is so freaking mean, especially when your plan is already up and rolling. Valgavoth, being 4 mana, does obviously not care about this card. You're going to be drawing so many cards, you're going to have card selection. Why not ruin other people's day when they're limited in what they can play? Trinisphere is just so mean, but perfect.
Our 10th and final card is the Ozolith. This is a 1 mana card that's going to make sure Valgavoth stays massive, even if people take him down.
I said it's pronounced Ozolith.
You can be wrong if you want.
All right, and that's the list. I'm trying to think of...
No, that was perfect.
Actually, I'm trying to think of what to say.